Welcome to Virtual Wednesdays. We are so thrilled that you're able to join us tonight. My name is Francesca D'Alessio, and I'm the Senior Manager of Public Programs here at the Fine Arts Museums of San Francisco. I am so proud and excited to introduce this powerful collaboration between SeeBlackWomxn and the Fine Arts Museums. SeeBlackWomxn is a collective of incredible artists and was formed as a response to the lack of opportunity and support for Black women in the art world. This collaboration is a call for accountability to engage with critical, long overdue conversations about power and representation in our cultural institutions. As educators, we are determined to expand the narrative and provide multiple access points to art. And these programs create an opportunity to do so by centering the work, contributions, and expressions of Black women. We pose the questions: whose culture is this? Whose narrative is this? Who relates to this piece? Who feels seen here? Who feels inspired? The questions are endless, but we hope that through this collaboration, we open the possibility in the collective consciousness for radical imagination in our cultural institutions. Please join me in welcoming SeeBlackWomxn.
Earth is ghetto, I wanna leave, can you beam me up? I'm out on the street by the corner store, you know, the one on 15th. Got a bright shirt on, so I'm easy to see. I've been down here stranded indefinitely. I can't reach my planet, but I need to leave. You should see these people, it's hard to believe how they treat each other. It's hard to conceive. Oh, Earth is ghetto, I wanna leave. Oh, Earth is ghetto, I wanna leave. I wanna leave.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's conversation. My name is Elena Gross. I'm the Director of Exhibitions and Curatorial Affairs at Museum of the African Diaspora, and I was invited to be in conversation with these four incredible artists, Tahira Rashid, Angela Hennessy, Ian Colon of Colexo, and Tracy Bartlow. So first I want to say welcome to all four of you, and I guess to kick things off, if each of you wanted to go around and say a little bit about your own practices and how you all came to be working together at this moment in time, that'd be great. I'm not sure who wants to start.
I'll start. My name is Tracy Bartlow, and I'm a dancer, a photographer, and I'm the owner of Beloved's Guest House, which is a boutique hotel in West Oakland that has an exquisite urban garden and is soon expanding to have an art gallery. Here in the art gallery is where I'll premiere my photography archive, a collection of images I shot in the Bay Area in the 1990s. I am a longtime friend and family member of Tahira Rashid. I have watched her grow up, and I'm really amazed at the woman that she is today. It's nice to collaborate in creative ways, and I'm just really excited to be here with this group of panelists.
Thank you. Ian, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Ian Colon. I am a performance artist and video artist, and now I work with Colexo with Tahira Rashid as well, which is a infused cannabis beverage company and also experiential design agency that's focused on bringing joyful experiences to the world. My art practice and my business are both about showing people a new perspective on how to be and how to relate to each other, and hopefully provoke a little bit of curiosity. Both my business partner, who I started Colexo with, and Tahira and I each met each other on the.
I started this whole thing. I am an artist and professor, and my practice is really about looking at the ways that materials mediate the relationship between the living and the dead, and thinking about how artists respond to grief and loss through their creative practices. I'll pass it to you.
My name is Tahira Rashid. I am from West Oakland, and I am an artist. I wear many hats. I'm a scholar. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a scientist. I, Ian and Tracy, I mean, yeah, we're all family here. The dance floor situation, I also am a DJ. Last year, just about a year and a half ago, under the mentorship of Meryl Pataky, I began bending neon. I also sail. I have a boat. I love sailing. Ian and I also love doing archery. And I am a community organizer and activist, something that is innate in me from my parents, who were Black Panthers, and organizers as well. I am a friend, and yes.
I think something that really, this like kind of connective tissue between the dance floor and all of these various hats that all of you wear, actually, I think is a really good place to start. And just thinking about kind of the multidisciplinarity of how you're kind of working together has hit all these different registers through SeeBlackWomxn, which employs a lot of different tactics, a lot of different methods, but then also thinking about Colexo, and also thinking about, Tracy, your dance practice, as well as, you know, your photographic work. I guess like something that I'm really interested in, just kind of hearing you initially talk about all of these threads that that relate you on a personal level, is how do you see, I guess, the role of all of your disparate practices being integral to kind of this artistic and activist space that you're finding yourselves in now? Like, how do you bring in all of those different threads in the way that you work together, in the way that you worked on this past, I guess, year's projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, because it's really been about bringing community together and bringing folks together that are in alignment around centering the work of Black women. And so, I mean, one thing I love about, you know, thinking through how we all have very distinct kind of practices and ways that we work is that, like, if I do what I do best and I bring that to the table, and Ian does what he does best and brings that to the table, and Tracy and T, right? Then, like, I don't have to go figure out all this other stuff. I do what I do, and I bring my resources, and everyone brings their resources. And then it's about really creating that kind of shared sense of, you know, that we're all a team and working together. And it's been like a really beautiful thing. And, you know, one thing I really loved about working with Ian was that he was basically like, anything you want to do, you know, like there was nothing that, you know, was too much or too difficult, you know, so it was really easy to work with him as a producer on the project. And T did a lot of production work as well. And that's like not my strength. So, you know, it's a great way to bring people in and to let them shine in their own, you know, specific areas of expertise and experience.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, because I got the chance to help with a lot of the video production and back end of some of the other episodes that I hope everyone got the chance to tune into over the last couple of months. But I think that one of the things that I love about SeeBlackWomxn is it's making sure that people understand that the experiences of culture that so many of us take for granted rely on Black and brown people, and Black women especially, to create these you know, what for everybody else feels like light moments of joy take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I think that this community is about asking people what strengths they have and celebrating them as they are, and not trying to gussy it up, make it look like robots made it, or that it came from sui generis, just like popped out of nothing. It's, you know, who are you? Let's bring our style to this and, you know, make something together, but it has everyone's fingerprints on it very clearly.
I like to share that being born and raised in Oakland, I have been a part of community organizations where the ideals of the Black arts movement is ingrained in the artistry and the activism that we do. And whether it be Everybody's Creative Arts Center, the Alice Art Center, which is now the Malanga Kaskalord Center for the Arts, Eastside Arts Alliance and Eastside Cultural Center. Being a part of these organizations has really shaped me as an artist and as an activist. And it's just really wonderful in using the arts as a tool for empowering and for strengthening our communities. And the work of See Black Women is an extension of that. Like, we stand on the shoulders of the work that these pioneers set in place, and created this template for how we take care of ourselves and how we take care of each other.
So to kind of take a step back for a moment, Tahira and Angela, do you want to talk a little bit about how See Black Women came together? What, obviously I know a little bit, probably just a piece of the backstory, but just sort of kind of the response that this kind of organization, if you can call it that, this very extensive community-based project, how it originated, how it kind of got activated. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
I can speak on that. Angela and I, our relationship, we wanted to work on what it looks like to actually see one another for who we are and understand each other for who we are, accept each other for who we are. And Angela was on the panel and she uttered some words that we had spoke together amongst each other, which was our motto, as she's wearing the shirt, see Black women, hear Black women, trust Black women, protect Black women, pay Black women. And it just so happened, I want to give a very special shout out to Lava Thomas. She's a very big part of the origin of See Black Women, and how the words were uttered on a panel that Angela shared with her about her experience with the San Francisco Arts Commission. And after that night, Angela and I, we talked about how through wanting to support Lava Thomas and see her and engage with community, other Black women and other Black artists, that this could be an opportunity for us to really engage at large and learn how to see one another through helping other Black women, and really allowing for other people to have an understanding of the support and the strengths and the ways in which our community will always help ourselves first. So we show up for ourselves internally in our community, and then from doing that, we hoped that we would then spread that kind of those kind of actions and ideologies.
Yeah, I mean, it really started as a campaign around the Dr. Maya Angelou monument. There's a lot of information and articles, out there already. So if people want to look into that, please do. But part of what happened was that there was a kind of like a public outcry, and I think, T and I kind of looked around to see like who was going to take this on, and I mean, I have to just say it was completely T's idea, that we take on this campaign to rally around Lava Thomas. I was a panelist on the selection panel for that sculpture. A lot of stuff went down, but it basically, what we saw was that like, oh, okay, it's us. Like, we're the ones who are going to lead and launch this campaign. And so See Black Women, kind of started, our origins are very much embedded in that, story. But really it was also about, this question of how do we see each other, and realizing that it's not a given that as Black women, we are going to see each other, right? And so it's really a daily practice, and that's, where the manifesto comes in, that, It's something that is, we are doing ourselves, and we are also asking other people to see us, love us, hear us, all of that. And so it kind of starts, with this about relationships between Black women, but then also, kind of manifests outward. It has a ripple effect, and the support that we received over the last years we were running that campaign was just like really incredible, really amazing. But it was also a lot of work. Let me just say, like, we worked our booties off for sure.
I do want to add really quickly that it also is based very much so in Black feminist theory and the idea that we're not free until Black women are free. And so we really wanted to show up for our fellow artists and community member and show an example in a way that we can take care of each other.
Yeah, I think the idea, just even what you're saying in terms of something that begins as internally, but then kind of spreads out, like the idea of, how important it is for Black women to see themselves, how important it is to see other Black women, but then how important it is for other people to see Black women seeing one another, like that entire exchange and the possibility that comes out of that. I think that really speaks to a lot of the work that many Black artists, specifically Black women artists, are trying to do right now. I think it really touches on a lot of registers. I'm wondering, I guess, like specifically, there's something very obviously inherently very poetic about the word "See Black Women," and obviously T and Angela, you just spoke a little bit, about your relationship to those words. But I'm curious to hear Ian and Tracy, when you hear the word "See Black Women" or see the word "See Black Women," what does it kind of trigger within you? Like, what kind of meaning does "See Black Women" have for you in your practices and in your life?
I can say that as a photographer, in making portraits of my neighbors, these photos that I took in the 90s, and to be able to make these portraits on the street of East Oakland and then take it to the 1-hour photo processing and bring those images back, and how people have this moment of seeing themselves and what that does to that person. It makes them feel validated. It makes them feel, and that validation brings happiness. It brings contentment. It brings
humanity. Yeah.
Yeah, you see the humanity in that person, and they see it in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such a powerful statement to say, "See Black women," and then all the other things that come along with their statement of "Pay Black women," all these different levels of acknowledgement. That Black women have not felt. That's part of this paradigm shift that we're in. Like, you're going to see me, you're going to acknowledge me, and I am going to first go within and see myself. And I love what you said, Elena, about how we see each other, and how that is also a very powerful thing of how we have this exchange with each other. So it definitely strikes it strikes something very powerful within me when I see that, when I see those words, "See Black women."
Yeah, I'm super inspired by the statement, and also the women is a WOMXN and not an EN. And the See Black Women movement, to me, and I've just had the privilege of seeing it grow, being friends with T and Angela, it's just so inclusive, and it's just really made me kind of radically reframe kind of whose responsibility it is to change the world. And when T and Angela are talking about who's going to do this work, and you look around and you say, "Oh shit, I'm the only people talking about this, it's me." The inclusion of so many people who don't fit the white male gaze that is, been the very dominant cultural lens through which so much production has happened for the last millennia, is just immediately put onto a different track when you say "See Black women," just acknowledging this wellspring of creativity and existence and beauty that's there. It's an invitation, and I think it's a call to action at the same time.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think the idea of a call to action and a recognizing this sort of wellspring of creativity of generation ultimately, I think also speaks to, and this goes along with a lot of the manifesto as well, the labor that goes into this work, into community work, into art as work, into survival as work in a certain way. And so thinking about how this movement, this organization, this movement is also, without being explicitly about labor, is always taking into account how the kind of strenuousness and the tenuousness of kind of being in these spaces, especially as Black women, often in spaces where you are the only one, or you are actively being pushed out, or you are actively being sidelined or maligned. And so I was just wondering how this, how you're all working together kind of in community in this way, how that's helped to like alleviate maybe some of that pain and some of that burden of being, and help to make the load more diffuse so that more hands are doing more of the work. And I was just wondering, like, there's like a sense of like mutual aid almost in sort of the way you're all kind of collectively working together. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me think, that question makes me think about the protests last year, 2020, and the way that artists showed up. And, for me, basically just for like PTSD reasons, like I'm not a good person to be out marching in the street, but I can support those people who are marching. And so that was like a lot of the work that we did last year was, printing out posters and giving away t-shirts and, supporting people going to the protests with water and, just like really kind of thinking, okay, well, what can I do in this moment? Like I might not be able to do everything, but this is what I can do. And so, that's kind of just part of it, is like recognizing, what it is, like, what do I bring to this particular conversation or this particular, whatever is going on.
Yeah, I'm going to say capital is not the only answer. And, I'm super lucky that I have the certain skills that I was able to bring to the table and help my friends make their vision come true. And I think that I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but we could all bring something to the table, and taking the time to say, okay, like, let's see what we can all offer and, rearrange it into something that's universally pleasing. Without having to say like, okay, but I need to get, X dollars per hour, or, 51% of this, that, or the other. If you're aligned on the goal, I think that's one of the things about SeeBlackWomxn, is to say that like the way, the value structure can be reimagined. So collectively reimagining in Black spaces, in spaces that don't have the same history of capital exchange that is generally on the backs of people the labor of people who weren't compensated for it, just kind of saying, okay, it's never going to be fair. And I think Black folks especially know that the world's not ever going to be fair. So figuring out a way to kind of make a micro system at any time, be it, going out for coffee. Do you make your own coffee? Do you want to go out for lunch? Do you have anything growing in your backyard? Anything like that, even of just reframing, do we have to always default to a 50-50 split or resorting to capital to get something done, versus what's the feeling that we want to generate? What's the information that we want to get across? How can we do it? And I think that's been a fun thing about this project, has been reimagining value in that way.
We are the strongest together. And it just feels really amazing to see all these shifts that are happening. And I think about the many years of work that I've done with organizations like Eastside Arts Alliance and the Cultural Center that we developed, and how all of the organizations that are within Eastside Arts Alliance and the communities that come in to be a part of the programming that is there, all of those are like, I like to say, is like leaning in to break up this structure. And what we're experiencing now are cracks, in this system that is not serving us. And so this collective work that we're doing is pressure that is causing more cracks, and it's reverberating all over. And so it just feels amazing to be a part of these different entities that are making this happen.
So I think one of the questions that is in the chat now, and I think is fitting for my own position at one of the museums in town, the Museum of the African Diaspora, is thinking about how museums can continue to support Black artists. Based on your experience with this entire project, I was just wondering what are your thoughts around ways that museums can continue to show up and support Black artists and community?
I think that this program that we have had the opportunity to create through the De Young Museum is a good model, an example. And I would have to thank Francesca and Maria and Renee, Carrie Montgomery. These people reached out to us, and they have supported us and listened to us, and they have allowed us to take full on leadership. And I think what I'm trying to say by that is museums can continue this kind of work and play the part by allowing for Black women, people of color, to be at the table, not to just come and put a Band-Aid on something, but to actually provide the resources and allow these people, and allow more folks, Black women, to have agency and to create. That's it. You just have to do it. It's not about putting, many like rules or boundaries. It's about allowing people to create and giving them the space and the resources that are there and available to do so.
Yeah, and I have to say it's been such a pleasure to work with everyone from the De Young. We had like free artistic license to do whatever we wanted, and to be met, to be welcomed and to be met with this sort of recognition of like how amazing we all are, I felt that we were trusted right from the beginning, and there was excitement. And I think also like museums, someone recently said something about how museums tend to be like risk averse, right? They're kind of big institutions. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of, rubbing shoulders, and museums are a really fascinating system, right? And so to think about, kind of just to go back to Tracy's comment about these cracks, right? That there are ways that museums can open up and allow for other voices to come in, but it takes the museum then doing their own reckoning, right? And recognizing how the structures that have been created, primarily exclude a lot of folks. And it's about preserving a certain idea about art and about, like just even the way that art is seen and valued, right? And so it requires the museum then being willing to take a risk. And, that's been really the incredible thing about this program, is that, I felt like, well, as we were developing the programs, I was always aware of who the audience was, and thinking about, obviously thinking about Black women in our community, but also thinking about the De Young membership and who those folks were and what they were coming with, you know? And so, but I felt like there was an incredible opportunity to, you know, to really do whatever we wanted and to just be like, okay, well, this is who we are. This is how we show up. This is how we roll. And that's what we're going to do, you know? So I didn't feel like we had to like censor ourselves in the process. And, you know, that's a really incredible gift and kind of a rare gift as well.
Super rare because it's also something that I didn't expect. I actually expected pushback or perhaps reluctancy to some things that we wanted to do. And that was not the experience at all. I'm so elated that the Dion Museum has Francesca and and her team, Maria, Renee. They are incredible. And I think people in other museums have a lot to learn from this team of public programming at the Dion Museum.
Can I make a quick comment here too? I think that to the question of what museums can do in the future, I am so a museum nerd, and I'm so fascinated with museums. And to Angela's point, like it's a whole world of fiefdoms and hierarchies and codes and you know, rituals and all these things. And I think that there's just two things that I think about if museums actually want to change. There's two things I think are really important. One of them is distinguishing between kind of collecting institutions and institutions that don't. And if you're a collecting institution, I think there's a real choice there that, you know, do you want to keep on sitting on this war chest? You know, do you want to keep on stashing these chips for what? You know, and I think I couldn't agree with T more. You just got to do it. So if you're willing to let go of some of these paintings or something that aren't serving your community right now, you know, you can fund real culture production in the moment. So just, I think that there's a collector's mindset and a kind of hoarding mentality that museums invite or they produce by the history of them that I think can be reimagined there. But also recognizing that, you know, maintaining a collection for custodianship through history is a great thing. But other than that, there's culture being produced all around us right now. And I'm so excited to go to Tracy's museum. I've been able to do a couple galleries in my apartment as well. And so I think the second thing I would say is it's on all of us to, you know, share the story of our own culture, make your own institutions. And if you want to see museums change, become a museum.
Yep. Yes, I love it.
It's brilliant.
That was incredible, Ian. I would say that museums continuing with their community outreach with organizations like SeeBlackWomxn that invite people that aren't usually targeted or the outreach isn't really to these communities of people of color to invite them into the museum. It's important to have community outreach with organizations that has their hand on the pulse of what's going on and able to reach out to their communities and to invite them in. And it's also important for the representation, you know, so that people that come in, they see themselves, they see some element of themselves like in that work.
And you know, this is a really great question, Elena, and that was the entire impetus for Black Reactions, the first program that we did. And I also just wanted to add all that it's what Tracy and Ian said about creating your own institutions. We are the culture. That's basically it. So museums can do it by exactly what Tracy said. Something just slipped my mind. I apologize, but if it comes back, I'll say it. I had something important, but don't mind me. I got distracted by the beautiful faces on the screen.
No, thank you. Another question from the chat is, have you had any favorite moments during your conversations in this series? Has anything surprised you?
My favorite moment, my favorite episode was actually the last episode that Tracy was on. And Ian and I and Angela in the studio just totally created like
we did this really funny, weird thing where it was so spontaneous and completely unplanned and just like very transparent. We had these black Barbies that were actually black Barbie dolls that I had bought for my son when he was teeny tiny. And I brought this like gold foiled, gold leafed ball. And we just did this kind of funny thing with these Barbies and this gold ball and this floating like little, plastic earth planet thing. And then we did we cut it in with this N.K. Jemisin piece. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. That was a really kind of stellar moment. And literally just being in the moment and Ian like videoing us on his iPhone and we're just like doing all this stuff. And the way that it sort of tied in with this idea of feminist futures and what N.K. Jemisin was talking about, it was really stunning. But yeah,
I mean, it was also just a really good reminder and lesson in a way for us to demonstrate the modes of production, capital, like Ian was saying, like here's this blue tape on the wall and like we're not going to edit it, right? We're going to show how we are producing this super raw. And that's important because when you have that access and when you are able to share that, that's how you reach others, and that's how you like are able to spread knowledge and be able to share like resources. And it's not always like cream of the crop. And we really wanted to demonstrate some vulnerability and experimentation. And that was really important. And it just turned out to be one of the best moments for us.
I personally like the theme song that you used for each episode. That always makes me smile when that song comes on.
Yeah, Nikki Aaliyah, Earth is Ghetto.
Nikki Aaliyah, yeah, that during the reckoning last year, and we heard that on Instagram, and she is an amazing vocalist and artist, and that song just resonated in my whole entire body. And I contacted her and she was just so amazing to work with, and allowed us to have that beautiful song as our theme song for this entire series. And that was actually, that might be number one. There's so many, honestly. And working with Ian, so talented, incredible.
So I was thinking about kind of when we first started talking all together and everyone talking about meeting on the dance floor. And so thinking about, I guess, like, what do you think the series could have looked like or could look like in another iteration in the future, if it, theoretically, if COVID was behind us and the world is ready to reopen? What do you think live events, what would you imagine for how you could bring people together? I'm assuming a dance party would be one element of this, just because it sounds like it's a common it's a common love. But I'm just wondering if there's other people, other voices, or other things that you were able to accomplish in this these 6 or these 5 series episodes that you would want to do if you had more time and the ability to do something in person.
We already created that. We already have it ready to go. We are waiting to unravel, unveil, and produce a live Colexo experience called Pylon. And we have already designed, produced. I think I want to pass it to Ian to share a little bit about what we've been talking about. It looks like to have an experience, not in COVID, and what that looks like.
There are Black Women in the Future live experience is just going to be so much more multimedia engaging. And I think what we want to celebrate is just the myriad ways that we're all expressing ourselves and really reimagining what the institution can be. So we want to create a drag show in the sculpture garden of the DeYoung, to be followed by a roller disco in the street out front when we shut it down. We would love to create infused beverages that you sip when you walk in the door, and you have timed experiences to encounter different moments of art. We would love to have a residency for up to a year where we can have people beaming in digitally to DJ 24 hours a day. We just really want to reimagine, like, why would you be engaging with this institution? You should get your mind expanded. You should come back 10 times. You should want to tell all your friends. I think that we hope that this is not the first or the last time that we get to work with the DeYoung on bringing all these talented folks together.
We want to have radical experiences with the community and with these institutions that incorporate ways for people to experience joy and to shift everyone's perspective.
And we know that Zoom boxes get tiring, so we appreciate everyone hanging out and listening to different faces inside the Zoom boxes. But at the end of the day, it's a bunch of boxes, and we just need to get out there together. So,
yeah, I think it's about disrupting like boundaries between interactions and through performance, audio, visual experiences.
I can share with some of the plans for Beloved's Guest House. Our garden is our most exquisite amenity. It is a beautiful urban sanctuary of a garden. And in the summer months, then we have a garden open house, and we have special guests and an open mic. There's a little bit of a farm to table experience where I'll create small bites of whatever is harvested from the garden that day. And then I also share and sell the signature drink of Beloved's Guest House, which is called Radiant Bliss. And so we're going to have these open house and a preview of the photography archive every Saturday in August. So I invite everyone to come out, and you can follow me on social media on Beloved's Guest House to find out more about the upcoming open house and garden events.
So this sort of weirdly segued into what my last question was going to be, which is just like, what's next, what's coming up for everyone? Because obviously, this movement isn't stopping anytime soon, which is fantastic. So just seeing what's next for SeeBlackWomxn, which it sounds like you already have kind of ideas around more partnerships with institutions. But if anybody just wants to, I'm a big fan of ending programs with a little plug. So if anybody wants to plug anything that they have coming up, I feel like that'd be great.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, we have lots of visions and plans and, things in the works. One thing though is that, as I was saying before, like we, while, so many people were on a pause last year, and whether, they were like baking sourdough bread or whatever, a lot of folks were doing, we were working. And so we're kind of like ready for a little bit of a break right now. It's like nap time for SeeBlackWomxn. So, that's kind of what we're looking for.
SeeBlackWomxn sabbatical.
Yes, exactly. A SeeBlackWomxn sabbatical, a little bit of rest time.
Ian, what about you before I respond?
Colexo just got into its over 30th dispensary. So if you guys want to check out some infused cannabis drinks that are going to refresh you and delight you at the same time, check out colexo.co, and you can get them delivered to you in the Bay Area in LA. And we're going to have some live events activating with music and dance soon, again in Oakland and LA primarily. But stay tuned and subscribe at colexo.co if you want to find out more.
Awesome. And Just to add to what Angela said, up next for us is definitely a nap. And so we have this for you all. Sorry.
The suspense.
This is what we're going to do next.
Go. Lay down. I'm about to go lay down. I'm about to go lay down. Look at your neighbor and say, go lay down. Go lay down. Yeah.
So we're gonna go take a nap.
Yes.
And rest.
You can find respite in the hammock in my garden. So, surrounded by the sugar cane and peach trees and cannabis plants, you can take a nap there. It'll be very peaceful.
What? I have taken a nap in your backyard, actually, with the House Full of Black Women project.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That's incredible. I'm glad you had that experience.
That's what's next. We are gonna go lay down.
I think that's what's next for us all. So I think with that.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Elena, for moderating. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Tracy. Really just love what y'all have brought to See Black Women and how you have supported us. And everyone at the DeYoung, the whole team, y'all have been really amazing. And we're just like deeply touched and moved and feel seen. So thank you.
And loved. We feel seen and we feel loved. And I know literally I love every single person on this Zoom and beyond. Who the people you can't see. Renee, Maria, Francesca's team at the DeYoung, Shaq, Carrie Montgomery. Literally, we love you. Full on love so much. And I hope that you all go lay down.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, See Black
inviting
Women.
me to be a part of this. Thank you so much, Angela and T. And it was so great being able to meet you, Ian, and to talk with you again, Tracy. I'm just really glad and thankful to be a part of this. So
thank you, Elena.
Yeah, same here.
Thanks, Elena.
I'm happy to be a part of the last iteration of this series.
Yes, this is great. Thank you all so much. And I just want to give also I want to give some special love and thanks to Lava Thomas as well. So love you all. Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you so much to our partners at See Black Women, and a very special thanks to the founders, Tahira Rashid and Angela Hennessy. Your thoughtful programmatic curation is unparalleled, and we are so grateful for the dialogues you've brought with creative and innovative artists, activists, and thought leaders. This partnership has brought us a series of 5 programs, all of them centered on the lineage and legacy of Black women and the contemporary art scene. Each program has been so powerful, authentic, and innovative, and we cannot thank you enough. All of our past programs are archived on our YouTube channel, the Virtual Wednesdays playlist. We invite you to watch all 5 of our collaborations with See Black Women, and please read our description to learn more about the collective. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Virtual Wednesdays, and we hope to see you next week.